This is an emergency broadcast. This is not a test.
You are listening to Brapwatch.
Oh, that's awesome. That actually sounded cool as shit.
Yeah, I hope I get a sponsorship.
Yeah, if Red Bull wants to sponsor us, maybe we'll stop shilling the Patreon as much.
Please, I will seriously scrub my Twitter
Wow.
for Red Bull.
Yeah, for Red Bull.
Not for my job, like my plan to be a politician, but for Red Bull.
Yeah, I don't remember that in your 5-year plan from the Patreon last week, but, you know, I'm sure you'll get there.
That doesn't even have to be the 5-year plan. That's just next week.
Being a politician?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting week. We had the weenie soiree on Friday.
Yeah, and I think we have one weenie left unless you ate that while I was getting ready.
No, I don't have the stomach for weenies after Friday night. I had 9
At least 12.
hot dogs. I had 9 hot dogs.
Okay, I thought it was 12.
No, I didn't get into double digits because, like, I could already feel every joint in my body, like, start to get, like, you know, swollen a little bit, inflamed. I woke up Saturday morning with the gout on this couch, and then I was like, I have to go home and shower before I go see this fucking movie. So, yeah.
I didn't even try to make it out.
No, and we're going to talk about that more on the Patreon because I'm kind of pissed that you didn't show up.
You didn't say anything to me.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm not actually upset.
Oh,
But I'm starting off the Patreon like, Amy, I'm so fucking mad at you.
Okay, that's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
That's
okay,
perfect.
Cool. Yeah, so another week in the life. Alden's on vacation, so it's just me and Amy today. I'm sorry if you're a big Alden fan. If you are an Alden fan, follow along on the Patreon because there's a whole nother episode with Alden from last week if you are only watching the public. But yeah, I mean, it's peaceful around here.
I don't know if it's much of a vacation so much as it's just drinking with a different backdrop.
Oh, for Alden?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, drinking with family is probably like a little different than drinking here.
No.
Not for them.
No.
Well, I think they'll probably be on a boat for a little bit. That's pleasant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back with a little bit of a sunburn or a tan.
Oh my God, they're gonna look like Patrick Star. They're gonna be a little pink. They're white.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Well, they have more body hair, so sometimes they look darker than me, but they're very, very pale.
Yeah. They sent me a text, I think it was yesterday, where they're like, oh my God, Daddy bought me, I think it was like gin, vodka, rum or something for like their trip. And then I was like, that's so crazy. All my dad ever buys me is Hennessy V-Sop and moonshine when I visit.
Yeah, when I go visit my parents, I buy my own alcohol. I don't know. Like, they have their shit. They've got, like, Tito's and whatever other, like, mixers for Tito's. But I'm not drinking vodka. Not with my parents. Not for a whole day.
I do not like drinking with my dad. So, because I just, like, he drinks a lot, like, when he's, like, having a good time. And I feel wrong doing that. Like, I have some boundaries, even though I'm very open with my dad. So I just don't drink with him. I'll have like one drink and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go hide. Like you being in a good mood scares me.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like overhearing your guys' phone calls. 'Cause you're like, oh, you're so happy. Is mom at church? Like, are you alone? Are you drunk? It's actually, you always start with, oh, are you drunk?
Yeah.
He's like, no. And you're like, you sound so happy.
Yeah. He's a silly little guy. He's actually little. He's 5'3". I'm 5'6". My mom is like 5'2".
Yeah. Your dad's adorable.
He's a guy. He's
He's got his little mustache.
Yeah, he's got the salt and pepper going on.
Mostly salt.
Yeah. He refuses to dye his hair. One time he dyed his hair because my mom was fighting with him over it and was like, you look old and ugly. And he was like, okay, you're one to speak. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, base dad moment there, no offense.
Yeah, so like he got like the Just for Men hair dye that covers all the grays, and it looked like he Sharpied his hairline and his mustache because like his beard was still gray, right? And he grew out his beard a little bit, and then it was just like a trapezoid on his face, and then just a crazy lineup.
Oof.
It was not good.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of guys with dark hair like dyeing it back to dark after they've let the salt and pepper kick in.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer yesterday when we were going to see Twisters for that new Christmas movie. It looks like dog shit.
Krampus?
No, red one. I mean, Krampus is in the movie, but J.K. Simmons plays Santa Claus, and then Dwayne The Rock Johnson is his lead elf.
Is he not bald?
Oh, he's bald. The problem is Chris Evans is like the main
Oh,
character.
okay.
And Julia leaned over to me and she was like, "Oh my God, he looks so much younger." And I'm like, "No, he looks." He's like, she's like, "Did they de-age him with CGI?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." What he did is he had just dyed his hair and his beard black, and so he looked like a little younger than the last few things he's been in. But I was like, he looks like shit. Like he looks better when it's like natural, like aged hair looks good in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever dye my hair to cover my grays unless I'm like dyeing my hair a different color completely from my natural color. I'm sorry, that hit was just really hard.
Yeah, that was wild.
I'm sorry. It's been a long morning, and by that I mean it only started like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I love that I break into your guys' apartment on Sunday and just point a camera and put microphones in front of you.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I'm still waking up.
Yeah, that's okay. Some weed will help. I'm drinking Natural Light that I brought for the hot dog soiree, and I was the only person who drank a whole one besides Alden, so there's a couple left.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I don't know if it's the rebranding, but it tastes like shit.
I mean, I think Natural Light has always been dog shit, but the fact that I got a 15-pack for like $9, I was like, well.
Oh, you know what? Natty Ice.
Yeah.
That's the one I like.
Yeah, those are fine. I
mean, Natty Light is one of the worst beers I've ever tasted.
I've never heard of Natural Regular. Like,
Yeah.
Like, is that a real thing? Because I think they only do ice and which is 8%, which tastes more like a beer.
Yeah.
And then Light, which is just water with yeast, yeasty water, if you will.
It sounds like what's in our fucking sink half the time.
One of my favorite things about that Oliver's spot, though, because I've been there twice this week, which is like egregious, and I hate that I spent $270 there this week, but I bought the first round last night. Oh man, I'm going into Patreon shit. Never mind. If you want to hear the rest of Nate's bad spending habits, head on over to the Patreon, because then you can kind of help me break even. Maybe, who knows?
We can open up an Excel spreadsheet and like start actively like holding ourselves accountable, if you will, and start budgeting on that. No, yeah, you're right.
But they do have like a mug, like a Stein of High Life for $4.
Oh my god!
And it's like, yeah, I went there on Monday for trivia, and I drank 6 of those, and it was like, oh man, I got 2 beers, because like price wise, that's about how much 2 beers cost. When fucking Alden wants me to meet with them for lunch or like right after work for a fucking happy hour because they're not happy. And I'm like, I don't want to go to fucking Sunswick. They didn't even have, I wanted pickle chips so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, give me a fried pickle. The lady behind the bar was like, oh yeah, we don't do that one anymore. I was like, it's the only reason I'm here. I'm paying $14 for a beer at a happy hour. Like, you're insane. But yeah, that happened.
I think Jim, you have to censor the name of the place.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want other people to find out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, wait, we're censoring that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll censor it.
I'm sorry. I think that's the spot when we want like shit, like cheap shit. Because if we're already in like the Midtown area,
yeah,
I'm not coming all the way from Astoria to go over there unless someone asked me to. But I'm not expecting anyone to do that. $3.50 rail, and beers are like $6 draft.
I mean, the fact that I bought you, me, and Kendra 8 drinks there, and it was $55.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And we got Hendrix. A shot of Hendrix was $5.
That's insane.
Yeah. Like, I hope you guys are looking at my face and you see. Insane.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, decent atmosphere for that part of the city for sure.
I think I was with good people. If I was alone, I think I would be suicidal.
Yeah, I don't think I would go there alone.
Okay. Speaking of this week, man, I was just gonna say what happened this week. Oh yeah, actually, I can say it now. I remember. So I'm a bartender, barely. I bartend at a hotel.
Oh shit, you're going into this.
Yeah, this isn't even for the Patreon. This is just
I was figuring it would be, but I'd like to hear it on the public.
okay. So like, I'm Indian. My parents immigrated here from India, and I'm fully Indian, despite a lot of people thinking I'm not. I am. Anyway, I know.
Wait, you're not Latino?
Okay.
Cancel the pod. We're over. We're done.
Anyway, there were these two guys who came down to the bar. My roommate Alden was like, warning me. Well, not warning. Was like, oh, these two guys are really cool. They tip pretty well. I told them about you, and they're gonna come back for you because they're staying at the hotel. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. They come down and they go, hey, and I'm like, hello.
Hi, 40-year-old men.
Yeah, they're like in their 40s, 50s, closer to my dad's age than they're closer to mine.
Gross.
And yeah, whatever. They were nice at first, and they're like, do you know what a samosa is? And I was like, yeah. They're like, really? What is it? And I was like, I'm fucking Indian. I know what a samosa is. They're like, oh my God, you're Indian? And these two guys, they're Indian. They were gagged over that, and they were so excited. And they're like, oh, we're Indian too. I was like, yes, I can fucking see it. And they're like, we're from Alberta, like Winnipeg. And I was like, okay, I know like where Toronto is in Canada. I don't know where everything else is, but they were like, yeah, we're from there. We grew up there. We're best friends. Our parents are best friends and everything. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, were you raised like, are you first gen or like, were you born in India then moved here or what? And they're like, oh, we were born in India then moved here. I was like, okay, cool. You barely have an accent. That makes a lot of sense. Aside from like a Canadian one. And then they were just talking to me about their business plan of opening this like fast, grab and go samosa spot in essentially Midtown, like 6th Ave. And I was like, that's kind of crazy. Why would you do that?
I mean, yeah, that's not the worst idea ever.
No, it's not. It's fine because like there isn't a lot of Indian food in that area, and there are a lot of Indians in that area as for travel and business.
Especially, yeah, for tourists.
Yeah.
But also, like, I would mess up some empanadas if I saw them. I would just as easily grab samosas. Like, I like samosas.
Yeah, and they were talking about having a bunch of different options. So I was like, oh, that actually sounds really cool. Like, I mean, I think it's stupid, but I also think I would enjoy it. And they're like, yeah, when it's open, you should come visit. We should trade numbers. I was like, I don't think we should do that, but I'll visit.
You know how you should check to see if someone's born in India? You should just have them roll up their sleeve, and if they have the scar from the shot.
Oh, well, I wasn't born in India, but I have it.
Oh, shit.
Because I got a bunch of rounds of injections in India when I was a baby. Because I was getting sick as hell. Those mosquitoes were killing me. Anyway, just as a story, these guys were like really cool and they were tipping me like crazy. And then they were like, remember, the lower the bill, the higher the tip. And I was like, okay, I still have to charge you. Like, someone has to pay for this liquor that I just poured out for you. And they were trying to get me to take shots with them and like drink with them. And I was like, I'm at work. I don't like getting shit-faced at work. That's kind of stupid and crazy and weird.
However, Alden is here tomorrow morning. Just kidding. For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Anyway, they tipped me like $50, which wasn't enough for what they put me through because they were like getting really touchy. They were like, can we take you out on a date? You're like so cute. You're like, there aren't like any Indian girls that are like you. And I was like severely depressed. Believe me, there are. Your ex-wife probably was.
You should have recommended them whatever that movie we watched on Monday was called.
Her?
No, not her. That was last Saturday.
Oh shit.
The 3-hour-long Bollywood movie that we all watched together about the godfather of whatever that town was called.
Oh no, it was that with the woman.
Yeah.
Ganja. No, not Ganja. I forgot. I don't know. It was the woman
that
who
was
was
her
like,
name. Yeah,
she was. That wasn't her name. It wasn't Ganja. It was something else, but it was with a G. She was the story of this woman who basically became a politician in this small town in India, and was also like a high roller, like a pimp. Like she ran a prostitution, like a brothel. But she did a lot for the women and like fought for women's rights in India. So
yeah, and like getting kids in schools and shit like that. Like that movie was sick. And anyway, those guys probably needed to watch that to learn how bad they looked publicly, because the first act, the men in that movie were slimy as hell.
Yeah. Anyway, they came back a second night for me, these guys, and then when I'm helping these guests taking an order, one of them literally comes up and nuzzles into my neck and goes, "Did you miss me?" And I was like, was I supposed to? Because no, not really. I can feel your sticky ass breath on my neck. And they ended the night by asking me if I would they were like, well, you have to come back in the morning for your morning shift, right? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, and that's 6 a.m. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, you should just come out with us, like clubbing. And I was like, I don't really want to. You guys are like, old enough to really be worrying about your retirement. And they were like, well, we're just trying to have a good time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not. I'm depressed. And they were like, okay, well, you know what? You don't have to go all the way back to Astoria. Like, that's crazy. You're only going to get like an hour of sleep. You should just like go up to a room and sleep there. Like, we're not even going to be home until or back until like 5 a.m. And I was like, I'm okay on that one, man. I'm really okay. And he goes, oh man, I'm trying to do a Canadian accent. Oh man, was that creepy? Like, I'm not trying to be creepy. You're just really, really cute. And I was like,
that sounds really Canadian.
really? No. Oh, you're using sarcasm.
He sounded Indian.
Oh shit. Well, they had like a blended Canadian Indian accent.
Yeah. I'm going to try a Canadian accent. No,
Yeah.
no, too early in the show to do that.
Okay. They were just really making me uncomfortable. But I got over $100 in tips from them this week. So thanks, guys. My paycheck's going to look okay.
Yeah, that's why we're doing a sneaky brunch today.
Yes.
Thank you, Ben, for being creepy as shit and tipping okay.
Thank you for touching me and telling me how cute I was and then offering me your Cartier that I did not take.
Yeah, that was a choice. I think it was funny on Friday night when everyone was like, you should have just taken the Cartier.
I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not a cheap whore, okay?
That's true, but...
Although that Cartier was with 40 bands.
Yeah, $40,000 ain't cheap.
That would have paid at least this year's rent.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean...
Water
I'm
under a
sure
bridge.
another opportunity will present itself.
Probably in a few days.
Unfortunately.
I had that happen. I have a couple of friends who are going through a sobriety journey, as one would call it. I'm really happy for them.
Not me.
Not you. You just were talking
Certainly
about
not
the
Alden.
Stein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Miller High Life sign is crazy.
Yeah, so like over the past few years, obviously like I like drinking, I like doing certain things, whatever. I've still been mostly okay because I had a lot of issues when I was younger that I was trying to get through and I was self-medicating for it. But ever since that, I'm always like really critical and I'm like, am I like being a little bit too much? The answer is always yes, but all my friends are always like, you're fine. And Alden's always like, you're fine. You're not like me. And I'm like, you're not a good, like, comparison. I know they say comparison is a thief of joy, but it's okay to like.
Ooh, that's wise. I like that saying.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. I saw it on like some stupid like just girly quotes thing when I was like 12.
It was like a Tumblr arc with like a screenshot from the movie Blue Valentine with like a rain filter over it, and it was like.
It was actually my favorite color is blue. It was a screenshot or like a little still from that.
Not blue is the warmest.
Yeah,
color.
Sorry, that's the one. Blue is the warmest
okay.
color. My bad.
Well, that's a way better caption. Yeah, man, Tumblr was a weird place to grow up.
I used to make money on Tumblr. Mine was monetized, and I was still posting retweeting porn on it.
That's kind of cool.
I made like $200 a month, which was nothing, but like when you're 15, 16, that's nice.
For that era of social media, like making money.
I know, and I wish I didn't delete it, but I started working at this law firm, and I had found out my best friend, who I was also working with at the time, and her mom, who I was also working with at the time, her mom had been following me on Tumblr since I was like 12 when I made it. And that made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I was like, girl, you've seen me post, like, I would update my page and be like, these are all my diagnoses. And, like, I had a mini bio about myself. Like, I was, like, I don't know, a notable person. I am to the people who care about me, but that's mostly out of concern.
I would say you're a person of influence.
Wow. Maybe I really should be a politician. AOC, I'm coming for you.
I mean... yeah, I mean, weird to just target AOC, but no, that seems to be your model. Yeah,
she lives in our district, and I just have to replace her. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that could happen for sure. Maybe she'll get a promotion. Maybe she'll be Speaker of the House someday.
Is it indefinite? Their term, like they can keep running forever.
Yeah, we don't have term limits in Congress.
I'm about to create term limits. I'm going to be the reason why.
I would love that.
You know how every law, like OSHA law, is written in blood? This one will be too. Not AOC's. I love her. I mean, she's fine. She's not progressive enough for me, but somehow maybe my blood.
She is on most issues. Just maybe not specific ones.
Yeah, the ones that I really feel like she should be more progressive about, she's not.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was talking the other day. I think it was here on Friday. We were talking about like how when you make like a person the representative for a company, it's usually a pretty dicey thing. Like Jared Fogle from Subway, for example. You
don't
know,
think I could be the representative of Burgerology?
Well, I mean, it's just like, you know, if we found like terabytes and terabytes of CP on Jake from State Farm's computer, you know, I feel like State Farm would probably be taking a hit. Like, you know, it's just really risky to make like a character, even if it's a fictional one, like Jake from State Farm, who they recast some schlubby white guy with like a handsome, like, you know, light-skinned guy. Mm-hmm. Which is like a good choice. I think he looks a lot better than like the guy who just looked like me wearing khakis. like it was a good choice, but it's like, dude, what if like Jake from State Farm goes on a bender and like he's in like, I don't know, like the fucking Maldives just stabbing people or something?
You know,
that's a big risk.
Yeah, you're right. However, I hate seeing his fucking tweets on my timeline. Every time I see a State Farm ad.
Oh, yeah, I don't go on Twitter.
I do.
I have been more on Twitter the past like month than I have like the rest of me owning a Twitter. My going on Twitter was just something vaguely funny came to mind. I would say it would get less than 8 likes, and then I would close the app. Like, I've never been one to scroll through Twitter.
I don't like scroll through it necessarily. I just tweet whatever I'm like. I just literally use it as like a sounding box or something.
Yeah, for me it's like outgoing messages only. No inbound ones. I don't read anything on Twitter.
I get DMs a lot from like weird guys now because my Twitter is public, which is like for Pride Month, this random guy found my account, was like, "Oh my God, I'm a straight white male. You should like punish me for Pride Month." And I was just like, "How did you?"
What the fuck?
I was like, I didn't post anything to warrant this, aside from just like posting shit about, you know, the Brat album.
My Instagram is getting flooded with porn bots again, which is scary.
I'm getting notifications on the account, the Brapwatch account, that like we're getting new likes, and it's all these like weird porn bots. And then I'm like, how are they connected to this? Like, how did they find this? And then I go on your account, I'm like, oh,
they're all following me.
Yeah.
I mean, I should probably just start blocking them when I get them, but I'm like, that follower number's going up.
Mine's been actively going down.
Yeah, mine has been for years.
I'm like, my sphere of influence is waning.
I think I'm getting more and more dedicated fans. I really love the people that come out of the woodwork to like my unhinged story posts. Like when I got my eyebrow pierced and I put a Sugar Ray song to the image of it getting pierced.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Bridget texted or like DM'd me. She was like, "Did you get your eyebrow pierced at 9:00 in the morning?" I was like, "No, I was just when I posted it." And she was like, "Okay, good, just making sure." It's like the heart hand emoji. Yeah, that would be wild if I did that at 9:00 in the morning.
I pierced my tongue right before I had to go to school in like 10th grade.
And you're like, "Hey guys, I just pierced my tongue."
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I remember I had to go to work right after I was working at McDonald's, and I was like, I was a cashier, so I was like, "Okay, so you'd like one Big Mac with extra Big Mac sauce and large fries
and a medium Sprite."
And my boss was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Did you have like a TBI?" I was like, "No, I got a tongue piercing." And he was like, "Go the fuck home." He also sexually harassed me the entire time I worked there, which was just one day the first stint and then 1 month the second stint. So 31 days, but it did a number on my mental health.
Yeah, that sounds really bad.
It's okay. He's got like 10 kids, genuinely, with all different mothers. I'm not shitting on the moms. I just think like you're a deadbeat dad for real. Use a condom.
Yeah,
once.
That's really what it is. It's like you don't need to go in raw every time. Like, just wear a goddamn condom, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's common sense. My views on birth control, and this might sound a little like totalitarian and like maybe fascist, but I think if we're already like mutilating every male's genitals in this country the moment they're born with this, not vasectomies, with circumcisions. Sorry, that's the point I'm getting to. Is like Well, when they hit puberty, they should go in for a checkup and then just get a vasectomy. Like, you should have to fill out a form that's like, I'm ready to be a parent. Give me a reversed vasectomy, please. And then you should be able to reproduce however you feel. Like, I feel like the discussion on like, you know, unwanted pregnancies and shit like that really should just start with the source. Drain these men's balls, please.
I really feel like I don't agree with your view. I mean, I kind of do, but at the same time, I really inherently don't.
I'm mostly being facetious.
Yeah.
But it could work. We should try it out for a generation or two.
Eugenics? Don't we already technically do that?
I mean, like, I think it should just be you fill out the form and you do it. Like, I don't think that there should be any process or appeal. Like, I don't think anyone should be. You're like, oh, you checked Hispanic on the block, so we can't let you reproduce. I'm sorry. That would be eugenics. We shouldn't do that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so fuck, what was I gonna say? I feel like, you know, we have birth control as women or femme people, like people with a vagina have birth control. It's easy to access for the most part. Should be free, honestly, but it
Yes.
isn't. I think they should make it for men too. I think, you know, I've been on birth control since I was 16, and it has, I would say, destroyed my body in a sense, but that's something that I'm doing to protect myself. And I'm not saying protect myself from, like, necessarily pregnancy or whatever, but also, like, hormonal things. And I think that should be on men too, because it takes two to have a kid. And men have way more power than women in this equation.
I think they should just be forced to get a vasectomy. Like a vaccine. Like,
I feel like, you know, take some birth control. Like, take a fucking pill, get a patch or something.
I mean,
you should feel the
spermicide
consequences.
exists, right? Like, you can take a pill to
Is
reduce.
spermicide a pill? I thought it was just like a gel and a condom. Like, they have the lube and they have the spermicide.
Well, yeah, that's a thing too, but
Uh-huh.
like, I think there's a capsule you can take that is essentially
It just like freezes them. It
yeah,
just makes
well,
them basically.
and they also made a beverage called Mountain Dew that does the same exact thing.
Dude, Mountain Dew is crazy. I've never actually craved it aside from when I've been severely depressed.
Except Baja Blast, in my opinion. Like,
Baja is good from like, okay, every time I go to the Taco Bell in Midtown, it is flat as fuck. I can't drink it there.
I mean, the quality control at Taco Bell's just isn't what it needs to be.
Their meat is still way better than half the places that you buy like good meat from.
I totally disagree.
They actually
It's just consistent.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
It's consistent.
I like their ground beef. Like it does what it needs to. It gets the things moving. Maybe a little bit too fast sometimes, but at least I didn't have a Sbarro incident.
True. It's how I feel about White Castle too. It's
can't
not
eat White
good,
Castle.
but it's consistent.
I literally can't eat it. Did I talk about this last week?
I don't remember if this is on the pod or just you talking to Alden and I, which is going to be a big problem, I think, moving forward. But yeah, you should tell
I'm
it.
gonna have to keep like a.
I think this was just us talking on Monday night.
Okay. So when we first moved into this apartment that we're currently in, Alden, I think, like, went to go spend the night with her partner, and so I was home alone. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm a mukbang. Or just binge because I'm depressed, and this move is actually really stressing me out. Anyway, so I was like, oh, I'm going to go to White Castle. It's 3 a.m. And I texted, I think, Nate and Alden in our group chat, and I was like, what do you guys think? Walking to White Castle? It's like 0.4 miles away, and it's 3 a.m.
It was not 0.4 miles away.
It's like over a mile.
Yeah, that shit is like 2.1 miles away from here.
Yeah, and they were like, "No, fat ass, you
It's
should
on
just
the
stay
other
home."
side of Woodside, and I did not say no, fat ass. You should stay home. That was Alden,
Yes.
for the record.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll Uber Eats it. I did, and I tried to eat it, and I was in so much severe distress, emotionally, physically, socially. I literally, like, I was in the bathroom. I was, like, camping in the bathroom. I was praying to God to end it. Like, it was so bad. I eat a lot of things I shouldn't be eating, like, that I'm allergic to or just aren't good for me. But White Castle literally brought me to my hypothetical knees. I was considering going back to church. And I haven't been to church since I was 16.
If you were to join a new church, I've been thinking about this a lot recently.
The Church of Satan.
Yeah, well, do we have like a physical church? I mean, if there's one
It's in
anywhere.
California.
Well,
The Levean Church.
sure, but is there like a branch here?
I mean, you don't have to physically go to... It's basically just being agnostic or
Yes.
atheist, but
Yes.
like a little bit...
Edgier.
Yes.
And you like to provoke people by your
Yeah.
beliefs.
So like the reason
Yes.
I wanted to go, I've been wanting to be an official member for years because you can get an ID.
I think Alden's ordained actually in the Church of Satan.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think
like
they
the
did.
Levean Church.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they like did a thing online where they could like ordain somebody because I think they had friends that were going to get married and then
Yeah.
they were going to be the one to officiate that.
Officiate.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I like to throw in extra syllables sometimes.
That's kind of crazy. I want to become a member just so I can have the ID, so I can whip it out when I go to bars and they want to check my ID, and I'll be like, yeah, it's a legal ID.
That'd be pretty cool.
I know. Yeah, and plus the Church of Satan looks cool.
Do you get approached by Mormons often here?
100%, and I'm always like, I'm a fag. Or I start speaking in Malayalam, so they're like, oh, we don't recognize what the fuck that gibberish is. This person doesn't speak English.
So
God's not going to save them because they're not white.
a couple years ago, when I shaved my head,
Uh-huh.
I was, completely fucking bald.
Yeah.
And I was walking to work one day, and I live right by this shopping mall. So, of course, there's always just randos out there handing out pamphlets and shit. And these two guys in, like, Mormon attire come up to me, and they're like, hey, dude, what are you doing on Sunday? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll probably be hungover. What's going on?
You were like, if this is the cheese ball guy inviting me to watch him personally in the park, I'ma do it.
Yeah, I was like, well,
I gotta hear this guy out.
what's the vibe? And they're like, oh, would you like to come to church with us? And I was like, yeah, which church? And they were like, blah, 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 Latter-day Saints. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I gotta run. I'm running late for work, and I think I'm gonna be busy on Sunday.
You said, what's the vibe? They said the vibe's salvation.
Yeah, and they were like, well, I love your boots. And I was wearing Doc Martens, shaved head. Doc Martens is a question. But
you were one step away from basically being a turf.
well, and then the other guy was like, yeah, man, but you really gotta get the red laces. And I was like, okay, bye. And I was like, is that what I think it means?
What
And
do the red laces mean?
that's like the white supremacists. That's like the fucking white nationalists, like the British punks and shit like that in like the 70s that
Of course
were.
it's a fucking British.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it carried over here with like the bad punks.
I have docs with yellow laces, and my friend who's like, I'm just gonna say I love her. She was like, you know what that means, right? And I was like, yeah. I wanted, the punk version of fucking, what are they called? I keep wanting to say Compton's, but that's a sandwich spot.
You know what it is, Converse.
No, the ones that people wear to like work sites? Tim's.
Oh yeah.
Tim's, Timberlands.
Bims.
I-
Bimberlands.
I have always wanted a pair of Tim's, but I felt like they were a little too masculine for me. And then they got like really popular in like subculture for people to
Yeah.
wear. So I was like, I don't want to get a pair. I feel like I'm like a poser at that point. I'm not blue collar. I'm not even like white collar either. I don't know what I'm. Gray collar. I talk to people for a living and then get.
Is service industry black collar? Because like servers usually have to wear black. Is that a thing? Or are we making this up now?
I think we're making I made up gray. I mean, if that's a thing, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Protect the black collar line.
I walk the thin black line. Oh my god.
I'd consider myself something of a blue collar gentleman.
I feel like you're closer to white collar because you like. No, because you do work in like an office setting. However, you are like doing a lot of active things too.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a lot of mule work, if you will.
Yeah, technician work.
Yeah.
I'm essentially an HVAC guy, but for frequencies.
Well, speaking of Krista and Alden just sent me this text and was like, "Oh, good. I'm glad Krista's parents polycule was notified of my arrival because both Alden and I are on Krista's parents' Life 360, and so they get notifications whenever we're like speeding or something. And when I was still living in Richmond and driving my car, I would like I don't speed all the time, but like I've got places to be and things to see." And so I would, the speed limit, the highest speed limit is like 75 or 80 or something, 75, I think. I would be like hitting 100 if it was like a long stretch of highway and no one was there. I'd be hitting 100 because everyone speeds in Richmond, okay? And so I remember Krista's mom would like message and then be like, Amy, why are you doing this? You've also like we were notified you checked your phone like 50 times in this drive, and a 20-minute drive. I was like, yes, I was trying to like hit through Spotify to pick the right song. All I did was mash the shuffle button with my fat ass thumbs. Like, is that so much of a crime?
Yeah, I'm not much of a speeder.
I don't speed unless like I was driving in Richmond and it was like specific stretches of highway.
Yeah, like on like a interstate or whatever.
Yeah, because like everyone is. If I'm going
Yeah.
like 55 when it says 55 there, I'm gonna get my ass beat.
That's the only time I go like 10 over, but usually I'm riding that like 3 to 5 over line. Like if I get
Yeah.
pulled over, I'm not taking a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm taking a life.
Oh my God! Speaking of people dying, taking a life, and
I'd
like
rather
breaking
be carried
laws.
by 6 than shot by 12.
There was this tweet I saw and I wanted to send it to Nate and Alden, but I was like, oh, this is kind of graphic. It was this kid in like Sao Paulo. He stole this guy's phone and was running with the phone and then got ran over by a bus and died. And I was like, that's what you get. You can't break 2 laws at once. And you know what the 2 laws were? I should have tweeted this, but I didn't because I was really high. I was like, theft and then jaywalking. That's why he fucking died.
Karma's a bitch.
I should have known better.
Oh, is that that's the JoJo Siwa song?
That is the JoJo Siwa song. I think she came out with another one. I don't know, and I really am afraid.
I did see she stole merch from Tool because in like 2003 or 4, like Tool had
Oh, I understand.
Tool had a logo that was like it looked like a phallic kind of like wrench, and like the 2 balls were like the socket parts, and then it was like the normal kind of U-shaped wrench at the top, and then it just said Tool down the handle. Kind of funny for a band named Tool, like,
Yeah.
and they're metal adjacent, like it makes sense. But now she's wearing like a vest with like Tim's, of course, and a hard hat, and then doing the same like terrible over the top dances. And on the back of it, there's the same exact logo, except the nuts are a little smaller. And then it says JoJo on it, and it's like, oh my God! Like if I ever see someone in that vest, it's coming off. It's gonna be like that opening scene in Bike Riders. I'm gonna be like, you're gonna need to take them colors off if you want to sit in this bar.
But you're gonna be doing this in what bar?
This would,
Pioneers.
oh yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think anyone would wear that to Pioneers.
The people who've hit on me at Pioneers not only have hurt my feelings, but dress so like a Disney, like Disney's corporate dressed them for Shake It Up.
Oh, like where they have like 4 layers of clothing on for some reason. It's
Yeah,
like,
and it's like,
girl, you go to school in California. Why do you have a sweater, a cardigan, and a denim jacket on
like
at
you're
the same
literally in
time?
Calabasas. This isn't even insane. This isn't even the Bay. Be so real.
Yeah, that whoever does like the costume design for those shows is just like, I have to go to Limited today. If I don't go to Limited 2 today, I'm gonna shake. I'm gonna tremble.
They definitely got like a master's somehow at either Fit or at Parsons or fucking Pratt.
Being the person who has to like dress Miranda Cosgrove for the next episode of iCarly and like pick out the attire, that job's got to be either really really fun or just straight up miserable, because it's like you're playing with like a full grown like Bratz doll, and you're like, how many different layers of horizontal striped clothing can I put on this like 12-year-old?
Okay, but I will say Spencer's outfits. My friend who recently came out as didn't really come out. We always knew. Like she literally would. She would like look at like dragon porn or some shit. I don't know.
Dragon porn's a sign of lesbianism?
No, but like we just kind of knew she was a little fruity, and she finally was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gay," and I was like, "That's not a surprise. Let's go get drinks, girl." When I went back to Richmond, anyway, she essentially, I want to say her like style inspo is Spencer from iCarly, and she does a really good job. Like she looks adorable. I
That's
love
cool.
her.
That's a good vibe.
Yeah, and honestly, like I love his outfits too. I wish I could pull it off, but Converse and me don't get along.
Yeah, every time I buy Converse, I love Converse. I think they're comfortable. I have a pair at all times, but my feet are too damn wide.
Yeah, they hurt.
It's like I'm like busting out the seams on the sides of my Converse within a month of owning them.
It's like a can of what is it? The Grand's biscuits or whatever.
Yeah. Or it's like, yeah, it's just not pleasant. But I mean, like the original like black Chuck Taylor Converse All-Star is like one of my all-time favorite shoes. I love how like just plain it looks. I love it. It goes with everything. But yeah, no, within a month of owning them, like my pinky toe is sticking out the right side of the shoe, and I'm like, this is awful. Even if I go up a whole size, like I'll buy like size 12 Converse, it's still not wide enough.
I can't wear them because I do have wide feet, I have flat feet, no arches, but they literally rub, like the friction on my toes hurts so bad that I essentially feel like I need to be in a wheelchair when I'm wearing them. Those things are for show only. Like if I had a foot finder account and I was making content with just my feet.
Oh, that's what I named the second tier for our Patreon is Feet Finder Friends.
What?
So like the entry level one is $3.33 a month, which we agreed.
Oh yeah.
And that's for the bonus episodes.
Yeah.
And then the next tier, because we were talking about doing some like raunchy pics
Yeah.
that could be funny.
Yeah.
And like a good gimmick.
Yeah.
But that tier is $10 a month.
Oh, it's not even $6.66. It's $10.
Yeah.
I know we'll get at least 4 people to do that.
I definitely think we will. And then like I think we maybe do one more higher tier where
It's
we
50.
do like, but it's like live. It's like a live stream or like a small group like interaction Q&A thing once a month. Like I
Okay.
think that could be really fun.
How much would we charge that?
I think we do like a solid like $40-$50 on that one.
I don't know anyone who would do that, and if anyone did, I'd be like, wow, you are a true fan.
Well, you gotta wait until we start developing parasocial relationships with our audience. Well, I think that would be like the fun part of the live stream, right? Is like we could ask people to like recommend us stuff to watch, and then we could just have a screen in the screen, like do like a stream. But I think that'll be down the line a little bit. But then like we could watch what people want us to watch.
This is something that I guess should be only said on the Patreon, but I'm just going to say it here. Alden has this thing where, like, multiple instances they found, like, really niche, weird porn for us to watch together on the couch with all of us to, like, really dissect and absorb.
I haven't been there for most of them. The first time this happened, we were in college, and we watched, like, a Star Wars porn that had, like, pretty decent production value. And so when our buddy Josh was coming over, he like walked through the door and was like, "What the fuck fan film is this?" And then like the Ahsoka and whatever the blue chick with 2 lightsabers is, just started like railing, and he was like, "Oh, this isn't a fan film," but it had like it looked better than some of the Disney Plus shows.
So I've never watched Star Wars. I just refuse. I have no interest. But I have watched the Star Wars porn because Alden did have me sit through it, and I was like, wow.
The only other one was that twink that was fucking different types of pasta.
We had watched more than one of his videos. It was like,
Not
which
me.
pasta? Oh, yeah, you're right. It was just Alden and I, but you did watch one with us.
I did.
Which pasta is the most fuckable? And he has like flashlights that he fills with different types of pasta, and then he rates it, and he also fucks it. And he rates that feeling and everything, texture, feeling, smell. And then
He does wear a condom though. He's practicing safe sex. He's not like getting ready to give.
He's not getting a yeast infection.
Yeah, he's not gearing up to give his next partner the most foul yeast infection of all time with marinara sauce.
Yeah, so he did one with pasta, he did one with fruits, he did one with vegetables, he did one with the most fuckable burger from a fast food place. And you know what? I knew the Whopper was going to be good, and it held true. Like, the Whopper stood true to being fucked. Like, it literally held together.
Yeah. That's a thing.
I appreciate that guy's account, actually. I think it's really, really neat.
I like the really wholesome guy that's on Pornhub.
Oh, he's like, I talk you out of a panic attack.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's okay, it's fine, like, we'll get through this. Like, and it's like supportive husband ASMR, and I'm like, oh my god, life really could be beautiful. And it's like telling our kids we're getting a divorce and then having a tough conversation afterwards about what we're going to do with splitting custody. And he's like, and he literally is like, it's like role playing it. And it's like, wow, this on Pornhub is crazy.
But it's like all wholesome.
Yeah.
It's not like he's ever giving bad advice. It's kind of like that same brand of humor as like Therapy Gecko, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to dress up like a fucking lizard and then just give people half decent life advice.
Dude, I went to a Therapy Gecko show, or I went to a Therapy Gecko set in Richmond right before I'd moved with my really good friend Krista, and then a couple of other Marcus and Faith, and I love them. They're awesome. We went to see Therapy Gecko, and it was awesome. It was really funny. He has a really good stage presence, and his fans are kind of awful, but like that's fine. You know, that's to be expected if I like it. We went to go see it. There was this one girl, he was like, oh, like, what's your story? And she's like, when I was like 6, I drowned in a lake and died. And he was like, oh. And she's like, and I knew ever since then that I wanted to move to America and be a singer and an actress. And he was like, okay. Okay. And she just kept going, and then she was like talking about her dreams, and she's like, honestly, like, you guys should just do whatever you want to do. Like, my near-death experience really made me realize I'm so talented and I want to go on America's Got Talent. And he was like he was just like trying to stop her derailing everything, but she just kept going on, and it was honestly really beautiful.
And 8 years later, that girl became JoJo Siwa.
She was cool. I don't think she was like it's not my type of singing, but she was really cool.
Yeah, did he like give her the mic again
He did.
and let her sing?
She did take it though. Like, she had
And
the
she
mic
did
and
sing?
she gripped that mic. Singing,
That's dangerous. Yeah, whenever you do an interview, you never hand the mic off. You got to have like a death grip on it.
Have you ever done one of the street interviews?
Yeah.
I've done a few, but only in Richmond. I have never had a guy approach me here. And I was like, one time I was shit-faced with my friend. We went to this place called Tap House. Yeah, Tap House, and it fucking sucks. And this guy was like, would you rather say the N-word or piss yourself? And I was like, or drink your piss. And I was like, drink my piss. And he's like, what? And like all of his little friends were like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, so I don't drink enough water, so honestly my piss looks and smells like Mountain Dew sometimes. And they were just like,
that is the new Mountain Dew flavor, by the way.
Amelia's piss.
Theydies piss.
Listen, whenever I like am consuming a lot of sweets because I'm diabetic, my pee does smell like peach rings. That's when I know I need to get my shit together.
Yeah, just you should get like one of those gigantically annoying oversized water bottles and carry it with you everywhere like a fitness bro.
My friend's ex, he has like a 64-ounce water bottle, like a steel one or whatever, and he carries it around
Jason
everywhere.
has one too.
Oh wow, that's not surprising. But this friend's ex-partner is actually really cool. Like, I respect him a lot. He's awesome. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about him really at all. But aside from like the fact that he carries a 64-ounce water bottle, that's just like, fuck off. We're at a brewery.
I mean, I usually carry a water bottle too. I think it's important.
64-ounce?
No, like a 28 to 32 ounce, and then I can fill it up multiple times over the course of a day.
Yeah, like I think carrying a Camelback or something, or like a Hydro Flask, that's no more than fucking 32 ounces is reasonable.
Yeah.
But like a Stanley, shut the fuck up.
Carrying around the chug jug with you everywhere, bro. You're worried about the damage.
One arm is significantly more jacked than the other, and it's not from jacking off. It's from carrying the stupid ass fucking water bottle that sounds like a gun went off whenever you drop it.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about carrying those is like you can really like wake up a train car full of people at 2 a.m. if you accidentally knock it over.
Have you ever had to pretend you were tweaking on the train so people would leave you alone?
That was the advice I got after I got mugged.
Multiple times.
Was to start acting like I was like maybe like a little more Joker brained than I am, and like a little bit more of a paranoid schizophrenic. And so like, yeah, I've done it in like weird situations for sure. Especially if there's already an incident going down, I'll just act like I'm like mid panic attack and like, yeah, like grabbing my hair and rocking back and forth and whispering shit about like, yeah.
Do you have a face that you make when you're on the train or on public transit?
No, in my resting face, everyone's like, oh, you just look happy. You look like a happy guy.
Yeah. See, mine resting face isn't like that. This is my face. You want to see?
Yeah. Do it to the camera. This is my resting face.
Yeah, it's like this like smile.
Everyone's like,
you look so adorable.
That's why I'm getting fucking sucker punched on train platforms and mugged by 3 guys.
Honestly, like I feel like if you had a black eye and you came to work, people would like your day would go so well.
Oh, that happened. So I got my eyebrow pierced on Thursday.
Show the camera. Come on, like get up close. They
All right. See. Yeah. This will be clippable.
This isn't safe for the Patreon.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So yeah, I got my eyebrow pierced. On Thursday. I went to my friend Jordan's show, and it's their first time back. They just got done with like surgery and stuff like that, so it was like really cool. And it was supporting, like they had a bunch of vendors there. Proceeds were going to, Gaza and the Palestine-Israel conflict, and on the side of Palestine, of course. And, so it was like, I felt like it was a good time to spend some money because it was going to a good cause. And they had a couple of tattoo artists there that were doing like flashes for, $15 or whatever. And then there was a couple of people doing piercings. And so like once the Gotham girlies and I all got over there, we were like, oh, we gotta like, what are we getting pierced? And so like Julia and Kendra both got a new, ear piercing. And I was like contemplating doing the nose, and then I was like, you know what? I've always kind of thought an eyebrow piercing would look good, and for $40, I'm gonna roll the dice and find out. So yeah, I did that, and tipped well too. I was like, I'm not just gonna donate the bare minimum. I'm gonna add a little bit more in there and stuff like that. And yeah, so I went to work the next day. Like, everyone knew I was going to the show, and then come back, and I have, like, blood dripping down my face still, and an eyebrow piercing, and everyone's like, wow, you really committed. And I was like, right place, right time, like, when in Rome. Like, this is a great opportunity. And, yeah, so that's happening. And, oh, yeah, so I think it was Friday night, I went home, and Bree, one of my roommates, was like just walking through the door behind me, and I was like, hey, like, do I have anything on my face? And she was like, oh my god, did you get punched again? Like, because like, it was swelling quite a bit. It was like a little discolored, and I was like, well, maybe it looks like I did, but like right here. And she was like, oh, you got a piercing. I was like, it looks good, right? She's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I think it's adorable. I think it'll look great when you don't have the long bar in. Like, it looks fine.
Well,
it looks like a piercing that's healing.
I've noticed it's very easy to move around and stuff, so.
Ew, you gotta be careful. It's gonna get those keloids, or at least, like, the little bumps.
Okay. I mean, it just, like, slides up and down. So, like, I've noticed it's kind of like a typewriter. And it'll, like, go, like, the top will go all the way down up against my forehead. And then the bottom will jet out a little bit. And then I can see it in my, like, the top of my vision.
Yeah.
And then other times I realize it'll be, like, unicorned out. And then it'll be hanging out a little bit on the top. And so I think, like, somewhere in the middle is probably the best look.
Yeah, how does it feel right now?
No, it doesn't hurt at all. Everyone was like, dude, that looks gnarly. Like, that looks like it really hurts. And I'm like, no, I didn't really feel it much when they were piercing it. Like, it kind of just was like, it felt better than getting a shot or like a vaccine or whatever. Like, it felt less painful than that. And then, like, I've been putting saline on it every like 6 to 8 hours, usually on the side of 6, but sometimes on the side of 8. And that's been pleasant. Like, it doesn't feel irritated or anything like that. I think I was slightly feverish for a little bit on Friday. Just because, like, my body was probably trying to reject it, but I powered through that pretty quick, and then it went away, pain, stuff like that. I feel like the nose probably would have hurt more from what I've been told.
I have a pretty high pain tolerance, and honestly, my most painful piercings were my ear piercings, like regular ass lobe. And I don't know why that is, because I've had my nipples pierced and my tongue pierced and my philtrum. So I feel like eyebrow wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's just
hurt.
like, it's just flesh right here. Like, even when I pinch like this really hard or get wax there, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt at all. It is like one of those things where I have to be like super mindful of it, especially when I'm like taking off or putting on a shirt.
Yeah.
You can kind of like, oh, it's getting caught on something.
Yeah.
And then, like,
oh my
that
god,
kinda
my
hurts.
things, like when I had like all my nose piercings still and like my lip piercing, I would constantly get it caught on my towel.
Yeah.
And like I ripped out my lip piercing once.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like my fear right now. So no more aggressively putting on a shirt in a hurry. I'm gonna have to put
You
it
have to
on.
be delicate with it.
Yeah, all dainty like.
You have to do like how people, like how Mormon girls do after they do the Mormon curls. They're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that demonstration. I really got the picture now.
what
I do
else?
have another funny Mormon story.
You do?
Yeah.
Go on.
So because I have that resting kind of like half smile neutral face, I guess, I get approached a lot by like people that need directions and stuff like that. And a lot of times they're speaking other languages and they're like pointing at like a Google Maps thing. And then they'll say like what station they need to get to. And so like, obviously I can help people navigate a little bit on like the subway, but like I get it's a confusing thing. But I don't speak 5 languages, so this one lady was talking to me on a train platform in Rego Park where I live, and she was like, how do I get to, I think she was trying to get to like Washington Square Park. She's like, how do I get to 8th Street? And it was like pointing to like where she wanted to go on the map, and I was like, well, the best bet is to walk across this platform and go down there, and then you just stay on that until you see 8th Street. She's like, oh, okay. She pieced it together, but she was speaking Portuguese, so I like didn't really know exactly how to say the right thing, but it was a pretty easy direction. So as soon as I'm done helping her, I like turn around, and I head up the stairs and put my headphones back on, and then another person comes up to me, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And she's like, hey, excuse me. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And I take the headphone off. She's like, do you want to go to church with me on Sunday? I'm like, no, I don't want to go to church with you on Sunday. Like, I don't mind being a good Samaritan and helping people when they're asking, but like, to stop trying to get me to go to church with people. Like, I'm not.
It's that cult. They keep finding you.
It's not that. That was definitely a Mormon. Like, I realized, like, as I was walking like 10 feet away, I was like, oh, that was Mormons again. They were camped out on the same corner.
Why Rego Park?
Shopping malls.
Oh,
People
okay.
will, come in from Nassau County or Flushing or like other parts to go to these like dwindling shopping centers.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have a Bed Bath & Beyond there?
We do.
I might go to Rego Park. I love walking through Bed Bath & Beyond.
There's a lot of stuff closing though. It feels just like I'm in the Midwest.
Do they have sales? Like closeout sales?
Yeah, the Burlington is like in the process of being condemned. They had this giant inflatable rat that was outside. And they were like, shit, and like whoever set this up like hates the fact that Burlington Coat Factory was not treating its rat problem because it was getting into the other parts of the mall because of them. And they had this giant inflatable rat that was like 2 stories tall, and it was like, shame on Burlington Coat Factory, written in like fake blood, like red paint. And I was like, yeah, I took up a couple pictures of it. Maybe I'll throw one up if we're clipping this, but
Yeah, you should.
it was really fucking stupid. But I was just like walking to work, and it was there for like the better part of a month. But I think they're actually closing that Burlington location.
I hate Burlington. So
I've gotten like decent stuff there for pretty cheap.
I don't like going into Burlington. Like Burlington, Ross.
We used to have an IKEA, and that's gone.
I love IKEA.
I went there once just to get some Swedish meatballs and a hot dog. I was like, this is pretty great.
I went there with Alden right after we'd moved. We went to the IKEA in Brooklyn, I think.
Yeah.
It was a good time. The bus was treacherous. But you know what? We got some bags out of it, and that's what we used to do our laundry, the fucking IKEA bags. My threshold when we're doing laundry, because we have to walk to the laundromat, which I know is like everyone here, but like forgive me, I can only carry 2 bags. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a fucking panic attack.
You can carry 1 bag.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. I say 2, but like 2, I'm gonna start sweating and I'm gonna get overstimulated and like start crying while crossing the street. 1 bag I can manage.
Y'all just need like a wagon or a cart. Like, it
I
would
feel
make
like
your
I look
life so much
pathetic.
easier. You do. You having a panic attack carrying 2 20-pound bags of laundry is way more pathetic than you walking in with a little wagon.
Yeah, but like my arms are getting kind of jacked.
Yeah.
There's muscle underneath these bingo wings.
It's probably from all the push-ups you're doing, honestly.
What push-ups am I doing?
I don't know. I was just being facetious. It's probably from changing out the kegs at work.
I have not changed out a single one. I had a customer help me.
Oh my God.
I was literally like, I can carry them, obviously. But like I was trying to change it and I was like, what the fuck? It's not letting me, it's not connecting. He's like, you want help? I used to run a frat when I was your age.
You want help? I used to run a flat back when I was going to University of Columbia. Oh, wait, like Roll Tide?
Yeah, Bama Rush. Yeah, she's like, yeah, I went to Bama. I was like,
I went
oh,
to
that's
Bama.
crazy. I was like, you got it. You do it.
Back in the day, the Greek life was wild. Let me tell you. And then he just tells you the most horrific fucking story ever.
He and his wife were sitting there like, we met at a Bama Rush event. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. What you guys do in New York? They're like, we're going to go see a show on Broadway. I was like, okay, I hate Broadway, but like, I'm happy for you.
We're here to see cats.
Worse. They're like, Book of Mormon. I was like, okay.
Oh, hell yeah. No,
Okay.
that's not worse. That's fucking metal.
No, yeah.
They're the people who need to see Book of Mormon.
Right. And then they're like, I was like, so what was college like for you guys? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I mean, you were in like a frat. I was never in a frat. I was a frat rat for like 2 months. That's it. And they were like, well, and he was like, Yeah, and he told me like this most like a horrible story about basically like roofing a bunch of people and like hazing, and I was like, that's Bama Rush.
Yikes.
And I was like, well, the 70s or 80s must have been crazy.
I'm really glad I never went to a state college because I feel like I definitely would have become a frat bro.
I think like hazing at the college you went to would have been watching the fucking a pasta thing as a group. Well, yeah, and try not to nut challenge.
Yeah, no, we had we didn't have like campus housing. Like we had apartments,
Oh, you lived completely off campus.
No, there was no campus where Alden and I went to school.
Oh,
like
okay.
there was the buildings where you went to school, which was a strip mall that got turned into a school. And then there was apartments that were all nearby, and normal people lived there. I've got a funny story for the Patreon about cool. About the random people that would also live where primarily college students were living.
Okay, so like I went to VCU and like there's obviously student housing, but I didn't live in student housing. I lived in an apartment on what used to be Hell Block, which mostly students lived in. But I was like 21 living in this building with my boyfriend at the time. And there
I was like
also
17 or 18.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And like we also had like families who lived in this building, so it's crazy because people would be throwing like parties and ragers and shit, and then there's this like family of like, I don't know, people who were seeking asylum from Syria, genuinely like people who just came to the US, somehow landed in Richmond, Virginia, and were living in this like 2-bedroom 1-bath apartment that's dilapidated and shitty, and it's like 10 little kids pop out and like 2 parents.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. If you want to hear the story of the time I met a pair of KGB agents from Russia in my apartment complex when I was in college, follow us on Patreon. We're going to continue to develop new tiers and fun rewards, but if you want to hear more Brapwatch content, if you can't get enough of the Brapwatch,
Brapwatch.
You're listening to Brapwatch.
Oh my god.
It's Brapping. The Brappening. Oh, we need an episode title too.
The Brappening. That should be when Alden gets a... I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. We're not even going to cut it. I'm not going to let you cut this.
Okay.
When Alden gets a DUI and has to be bailed out, even though they don't really drive here, that's going to be called The Brappening. And we're going to have... The episode is just going to be in the corner. It's going to be a picture of Alden's mugshot, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger until it takes up the entire screen.
Mugshotties, but it's just Alden.
Mugshot days.
Alrighty, well, thank you for listening to episode 3 of Brapwatch. This has been a fun journey, and
we miss you, Alden.
Yeah. All right. See you on the Patreon.
Bye.